When you saw these, why did you think this was something that the public needed to see?
Well, I think, first of all, these are issues that are still relevant today. I mean, it was just last year that the Supreme Court of the United States was considering marriage equality. There are a number of issues related to the LGBT community that will continue to come before the courts. Certainly reproductive rights continue to come before the courts, and criminal cases, including sexual assault. And those are topics that Rebecca Bradley was writing about. And because she has such a short record as a judge, and much of her career as a jurist is sealed in children's court, the public doesn't really know what her record is. So whatever insights we can get are very important and very relevant to making decisions about whether or not she's qualified to sit on the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
I know that you, Jenny, feel like, you know, you can't underplay this because, you know, you said earlier that we don't know much about Rebecca Bradley, and this is a window into her. And it wasn't just the one subject, but is there something to be said for the fact that this was 24 years ago, that she was in college, and as hateful as the words were, maybe she has changed?
Well, I think a couple of things on that point. One is her own website talks about how she has over 19 years of experience as an attorney. The ad that we see from Wisconsin Alliance for Reform is talking about her 20 years in the legal field, and that's barely over when she was writing these columns. So she herself and her supporters are talking about a time period that is really close to when she is writing these words. So absolutely, I think they're relevant. Additionally, they really are not just a window into what she thinks about those issues, but her personality. The level of hatred and vitriol, I think, is beyond what nearly anybody would use when talking about the issues that were being discussed in her columns. And for me, one of the most concerning things about her columns was where she is sympathizing with a woman who had written a number of columns. One appeared in Newsday, sort of blaming women for playing a role in date rape. And Rebecca Bradley's words was that was a legitimate suggestion, that women played a role in date rape. She now sits on the Supreme Court, which hears criminal cases, including sexual assaults. And it's unacceptable for anyone to ever blame a victim of sexual assault. And unfortunately, while Rebecca Bradley issued an apology to those offended for her comments about the LGBT community, she did not issue any sort of apology to women who may have had concerns about her language in talking about date rape, did not issue an apology to women who may have concerns about the fact that she talked about those who chose to exercise their right to seek an abortion being brainwashed by their doctors. Those aren't things that she has spoken about. They aren't things that she has made any sort of apology for. And even her apology about the language that she used to talk about the LGBT community was really a non-apology only to those who were offended. And so I think we still have a lot of work to do on hearing more from Rebecca Bradley about what her real views are on these issues that are very much still relevant to the court today.
Do you feel that she should be more forthright in saying, look, I'm a liberal, Rebecca Bradley's a conservative, that's the way it is, and even though this is a nonpartisan race? Well,
I think it's actually laughable to talk about that when we have Rebecca Bradley, who was appointed 3 times by Governor Walker in 3 years. She is getting support from right-wing groups. She is having her campaign managed by the same people who managed Governor Walker's campaign. Her campaign chair when she ran for circuit court was Michael Grebe, head of the right-wing Bradley Foundation, who happens to also be the co-chair of Governor Walker's gubernatorial campaign. So those types of ties are certainly very prominent in Rebecca Bradley's campaign, and I think have been an issue. On the other hand, Joanne Kloppenberg served at the Department of Justice under both Republicans and Democrats, and certainly has a much longer record of acting in a nonpartisan or bipartisan manner on behalf of the people of Wisconsin.
You think it hurts her, Jenny?
I think so. I think that the comments show that she is clearly unfit to rule on a number of cases that could come before the court, and that she should resign now rather than continuing the campaign. You know, and the other thing that makes it problematic for Rebecca Bradley is that one of the other things that she wrote much more recently was that she thinks that judges should be allowed to lie during their Supreme Court campaigns. And so now we have her as a Supreme Court candidate having written that she thinks Supreme Court candidates should be allowed to lie. How are we supposed to believe her, whether she says she's sorry or she's not sorry, what is the actual truth. It's very hard for voters to cut through.
I'm going to have to cut you there. We're out of time. Thanks so much.